good evening. This is the 7th and best episode of the Hashcast, and I have a couple of super cool guests tonight, and of course also Stephen Blomkamp. But we'll start with a newcomer to the show that I've never talked to before tonight. Peter, how are you, man?
Doing very good. I'm glad to be here on the show.
Good.
I think it's going to be a pretty fun and interesting night.
I hope so, and I hope that I don't ruin it and that you want to come back sometimes, because you sound cool already in the 5 minutes that we just got acquainted.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
And I also have Sofia. Sofia, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, I'm great. Nice talking to you. I think this is the first time we talked online. We met face to face, but we never had a conversation online except for Twitter. So that's good. And
Yeah.
Steven, how are you, buddy?
I'm terrible.
You
I
too.
mean, I've hit rock bottom clearly by being back on the show.
I know. Well, it could be worse. You could be on the Super Deformed Gamescast. Let's be honest. Oh!
Shots fired.
Just kidding.
Thanks
I
for
love those
having me.
guys. So we're gonna talk Infinity Wars. We have more star power tonight than they had, but still we're gonna talk about that silly little movie. I assume everybody seen the movie, right? Otherwise, you sneaked onto the show without merit.
I just saw the first Avengers.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's exactly what I
Yeah.
figured. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the other ones either. I saw Iron Man 2, but that's
I
it.
just saw Spider-Man 3, and that's the sum of my Marvel.
Well, Iron Man 2 is the best one, so let's start off with that. Just kidding. I hate that movie. No, not really. I've only seen it once, and it was a while ago, so I might fill in my gaps while we talk. But has anyone seen it more than once by now?
Do you mean in Infinity War?
Yeah?
No.
No.
Just in my head.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
I think we're all on the count of one.
Okay, that's good. So I don't have to feel bad that I'm not a super fan.
But I think I think that's good. I think sometimes when you watch it second or third time, I feel like sometimes it's nice to see. I'll probably go see it at least another time in the cinema. But I feel sometimes when you critique a movie, if you've seen it twice, you forget some of the excitement of the first time you see it.
Mhm.
And I feel like when you critique it, then you're looking more for the errors than for what was good.
That's
and
true.
I think sometimes critics, they can be overly critiqued. What is this? Hello, English?
It is late.
Critical over certain movies when it's I think we all agree it was fun. It was so much fun.
That
I had a blast.
That is true, and I have the exact opposite with The Last Jedi. I've seen it once and I hated it, and that's kind of how I want to keep it. So keep hearing it. If you watch it more, it becomes better.
The betrayal.
The betrayal,
I loved it, but that's not our discussion right now.
No, it's not. I just want to throw it in.
Wait, we need to judge Peter. Peter, did you like or hate Last Jedi?
Okay, so you can judge me right now because I still haven't seen it.
Oh, that's even better. That's
I also
even
like
better.
that you either like it or you hate it. There's nothing I thought it was okay. It's just no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just heard so many people dislike it that right now I'm a bit too taunted to watch it.
Watch it. I
Watch
liked it. And
yeah.
since your expectations are low, that's a good thing. That was me
Yeah,
going
I know,
into
they're
this movie.
Yeah.
They're even low at this point.
I will watch it again because I'll give it another chance. I had just seen Justice League on the plane, so wait until I start talking about that next time.
Ooh.
But
I haven't even seen it.
You haven't seen it? Oh, well, it's a perfect plane movie, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
I saw breakdowns and that was enough for me. I didn't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Fair enough. But let's not dunk on DC all night while we're talking Infinity War, because that would be too easy. So I've only seen it once. That's good. I think there's a lot there, and everybody keeps, I think, talking about the ending the most. But let's not skip straight there. But I do want to get a quick feel for the room. So Stephen, how did you feel about the movie overall?
Okay, I loved it,
Okay.
but I had this weird. This is gonna sound so cliche. I had this weird sort of shell shock feeling
Mhm.
afterwards. Not so much that it shocked me, but it's almost like 10 because I rewatched all the Marvel movies right before going to
Okay.
see the movie, and it's 10 years of your life that resulted in this great movie, but not necessarily super amazing, incredible movie. It's this weird place of loving it, but not thinking it's the best thing in the world, all that jazz.
I get it.
I don't know. I'm not good at put it into words, apparently.
Fair enough. How about you, Sophia?
Well, I get what you're saying, because here's what I did before Avengers, before this one, I lowered my expectations to the ground. I think the past like 5 or 6 years, I've sort of distanced myself from my fandom of these movies because it's been fairly strong. I did not like the 2 and 3 of the Iron Mans. I, had I experienced a fatigue in like the midpoint. But then Thor Ragnarok got me back and Black Panther got me back, but I still like tried to keep my expectations on just the lowest as possible, thinking it might be Age of Ultron again. Like we'll see what happens. That said, that was why I was like so pleasantly surprised. I had such a good time, and I think when it comes to these movies, you should judge it for what it is. It is not an Academy Award contender. It's not a drama, even though there's drama. It's not a comedy, even though it's a comedy. It's a superhero movie.
Exactly.
And putting it into context with other superhero movies and franchises, I think it's terrific. I think the fact that they modified the sort of classic film structure, the structure films are quote unquote supposed to have, was a very smart decision because they have so many characters. The fact that they did not spend time introducing characters or doing like those like big group shots with here are all these and here are these people and like what we saw a lot of in Ultron, I think that was good. Just divide them up, make the story interesting, jump back and forth and keep the pace going. I thought that was great. And I think that Thanos is the best antagonist we've seen so far because he mirrors so much of what the protagonists as a group are for, which is everybody just wants the universe to be better. But they have different ways of going forward doing that. And that's a good protagonist, in my opinion. And I think that it was a fun movie. It was a great movie. It's probably going to be one of my favorites from this year. But I do think that, it didn't. I also like when the movie ended, I was kind of like, well, okay. I was kind of like put back and shocked. And then once my reason started, I was like, oh, well, I know that these people are going to come back. This is going to happen. But I do think that the next one will be like the closing chapter, hopefully.
Yeah.
This felt sort of like a cliffhanger of sorts.
Yeah. How about you, Peter?
Well, I should have been before Sofia because she just wrapped up everything for me.
I'm sorry.
But no, I totally agree with all of the points there. I kind of too had a lot of my expectations set low. And even like with Thor Ragnarok, for me, I wouldn't say it brought me back. It was just a really enjoyable movie. It followed the general Marvel structure, had lots of humor. It was really fun. And that's what I liked about Infinity War is that it wasn't your typical Marvel movie that you'd see. Mm-hmm. You went in and the whole time, for me, it was a super tense, like it's almost like I took one big breath in the beginning and I let it all out at the end. Like that's how it felt for me. And it was a really cool experience. Really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my top superhero movies. And like Sophia was pointing out, it is a superhero movie. So for what it's doing a lot. It was awesome. Really enjoyed as well that you were kind of going into like a path that each superhero was following. It's like they were all against Thanos, but they were doing it at a different time, at a different place, in a different way. So that was a really fun take. And there were just a lot of moments in the whole movie that it was just really powerful and just these moments which are really memorable, and I kind of didn't expect some of them. So I really enjoyed it. Really fun movie.
Good. Yeah, so for myself, I did let myself get hyped up a little bit for this movie because it was good. Like I liked the trailers, but I had worries before the movie because I had my own theories about what was going to happen, and none of that happened. Like I thought that was pretty cool. That it, like nothing what I would have predicted to normally happen in a movie like this happened, and that was refreshing for me. I already like knew beforehand. Oh, he's gonna almost do it, and then they're gonna use the time stone and nope. Everything just happened the way it was supposed to happen apparently. But I liked it overall. But just like Sophia did, like as soon as I saw it and sorted out my emotions, I said, okay, this is what's gonna happen next, and they have to do this from like a franchise perspective, and like you bring all your logic in, and I do fear that they're gonna take the gut punch away in Avengers 4 or whatever they're gonna title it. But we'll have to see. But overall, I was pleasantly surprised because I liked Thor Ragnarok, but it's not my favorite because I found it so weird to have a comedy in the middle, and then because that was going to be followed up directly with this movie, which is like it's both funny, but it's also some pretty heavy material in there. But that they made that work nicely by just killing off pretty much everyone in Thor Ragnarok right at the bat. So
well, it didn't kill Valkyrie. We haven't seen her yet.
no, and that's good. I don't remember where she was at the end of Thor Ragnarok.
She was supposed to be on that ship, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like something happened because like that was actually a thing I did not like about it, was the fact that they found Thor by him crashing onto their window.
Yeah,
that was kind of dumb. I wish they'd like, let's explore, and then they see a man like lying there, and let's go get him. I think that would also possibly be like, okay, so maybe there are more survivors. Maybe Valkyrie's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that's how that's gonna work. I'm not sure, but I just remember that was a moment where I was like, I hate coincidences like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Well,
a silly coincidence.
yeah, well that's very movie-like. Anything else you want to add before we get into the like real deep spoiler territory? I'm gonna mark this like all spoiled up anyway, so we don't have to worry about anything. But the coincidences. Well, that's just movie stuff to me. But what was your biggest surprise in this movie, Steven?
Oh, biggest surprise. I still feel like I have a mental block on even remembering the movie. So can other people go first?
Okay.
And then
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my surprise was how good Thanos looked, because in the trailer he looked kind of dodgy.
Yeah.
I felt he did not look finished. I was very worried about the special effects. I was kind of thinking maybe they should have gone prosthetics instead for a long time. But it only took me a few minutes before I was into it. Like the mocap was great. I think he looked better, way better, when they like made him less extremely purple. I think that was one of the things. He felt believable. He felt like a real person, and that was something that I was worried about. Yeah, I think they did a good job with all the effects, really. I think there were...
Yeah, Thanos was incredible, especially like the back end, what I was hearing, like how well he came out as like renders and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
it's just
like
amazing.
Your field.
Yeah. I've been like he like that is just like the most amazing thing I've seen so far in like a lot of these movies, because he looks so freaking real. And a lot of the stuff for like the backhand is just simply just putting him in the scene, and that's it. Like there's no extra work on top of him. So all the artists that worked on him, amazing job. Just absolutely outstanding.
I forgot to go over this completely in the introductions because I was too excited about talking about this movie. So Peter, what is it that you do again?
I am a compositor. I do visual effects on film for Supernatural.
Okay, so that's kind of cool. How about you, Sophia? What do you do again?
I'm a student right now.
Yeah, what kind of student?
I'm a film student, but I do have a journalism degree, and I have been a video game and film journalist and film critic in the past. So, but right now I'm just studying it up in LA. So that's fun.
And Steven, what do you do again?
Well, I was just gonna say, barring you and me, I think this is the most qualified like cast you've ever had on the show.
Yeah, exactly. that was like I was going for. Like even you are more qualified than me, Steven. So. But that's why I'm the host.
I'm a video game artist. I work on VR games and stuff.
Fair enough. Well, I don't do shit. I just talk about stuff all the time. But it's
but you get into the people, which is very important.
That's right. Like I bring all the things together. I'm like the gauntlet, and you're my Infinity Stones. That's how I see it. Oh
God! But I think it's important though to have people that are not, I don't know, just overly studying film to talk about films, because I think you can get pretentious real quick. I mean, sitting in the classroom every day talking about film, I've seen the few people, the handful, so I can be like, yeah, they're going to be one of those pretentious people who are like, it was better in the old days. You know what I mean?
Don't worry. I'm going to get real pretentious.
Everything was better in the old days.
Yeah.
Just a quick note.
Avengers is no Casablanca, you know?
How about you, Peter? What was your biggest surprise? Like either in what way it looked, or story-wise, or whatever?
Okay, so story-wise, I mean, I really can't go for surprise because I haven't read the comic books or stuff like that, so I'm just like watching the movies to enjoy them and everything. But for me, what really got me is the way it started off. with the whole Loki scene and the Hulk fight, and I was just not expecting all of that at the start. And for me, I was like, wow, I'm going in for like a whirlwind of emotions right now.
Yeah,
I already cried.
Yeah, that whole scene was so freaking powerful, and it looks so good, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this is like right here. It's already setting the bar for me. So that was kind of a good surprise for me.
Yeah. For me, it was that he just completed the gauntlet. I thought we were going to spread that out over 2 movies,
Sure.
but no, he just did it. But it's also like what they're going to do now. Like they're going to do something stupid and like undo some of the heavy stuff. That's what I think. If they don't, like, it's going to be the best ever. If they just like let everybody be dead until they fully reset, that would be fantastic. But
but that's
not going to happen.
I think is Marvel's biggest mistake because they've announced so many movies.
Yeah,
I think they should have just stopped announcing them.
Yeah, and that's what I
think they should have just
Yeah. So do we know what Ant-Man and the Wasp, when that takes place? Is it going to be pre-Thanos? Because all of a sudden, I'm like, it would be kind of cool if that takes place with only half the Earth left.
I mean, if it does, that doesn't make sense because why wouldn't Ant-Man be called in? Because he was with them during Civil War, right? So why would they just not?
I think they had a throwaway line that they took a deal. He and Hawkeye took some stupid deal. It didn't make any sense, obviously, but that would be the story, I guess. Unless it's a prequel.
I think this movie is total filler between.
I didn't even think it was going to connect with anything. I thought they're just kind of putting it out there as like, hey, let's have one movie in between still.
Well, they've set a precedent for that with Homecoming. Like the official timeline, Homecoming doesn't actually have a time it occurs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've retconned when it says it, because I know in Homecoming it says it's like 6 years or something after Civil War, but it can't possibly be for some other reason or something. So I read there's a whole article on Polygon where it's like they've now said that Homecoming happened as like a character building thing. But
we just popped Jimmy Good, Critical Reviews just popped in. Hey Jimmy, how you doing, man?
Hi everybody. Sorry to interrupt this magical thing, but here I am.
There he is.
Hello.
Hi.
We just went over what our biggest. We're just getting started, Jimmy. So don't worry. What our biggest surprise was of Infinity War, and then we moved on why it's gonna suck after. No, just kidding.
The biggest box office failure of this year is basically what you're trying to say, right?
Exactly. Like, who likes this movie anyway? But so yeah, we left on a pretty big premise there, and now we're talking about where does Ant-Man and the Wasp fit in, because we don't know, but we'll have to see. Because Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, I always mess those up. That we know that's it's gonna be a prequel. It's gonna take place in the 90s and probably end on whenever they need her, because that's the post-credit scene, right? That they're calling her in. I do not know the comics. Can anyone tell me what Captain Marvel's powers are that's gonna fix all this?
I'm supposed to be the comics guy here. I don't know, but I'm not at all. Especially like I always avoided the space stuff, so like I didn't really know much going into this movie. But I'm told that Captain Marvel's something to do with the Skrulls. So that's like, I remember reading something that Skrulls is the next big threat after Thanos.
Okay.
So I think that's also it's aliens that can mimic the looks and powers of anything they see.
Of course it is.
So I thought we were talking about like physical scrolls.
No.
I was very confused.
So there was a whole very broad comics event a couple years ago called Secret Invasion, where the Skrulls secretly replaced like a whole bunch of Earth's heroes and a whole bunch of Earth's government and stuff, and then like the remainders had to like fight this resistance against their former friends who are actually just shape-changing aliens.
Okay.
So apparently, and that's all what Captain Marvel deals with in the comics. So
yeah, I mean that's what I'm kind of worried about with the new one is like this movie. The pacing was so well. They managed to stuff a lot in there without it feeling too chaotic. But I'm worried what's going to happen now that he's got everything. Like, are they just going to spend like an hour assembling? It's just going to be Captain Marvel like calling up Hawkeye and like running around like, who's here? Who's left? Like, I'm not really sure how that's going to go. Hopefully they'll like figure it out, but I don't know. I'm worried.
Thanos is just gonna keep on sipping his pina coladas and snapping his fingers, and life will go on.
Yeah, because he's done. So Jimmy, what do you think is going to be the big follow-up on this movie?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we have to look forward to, obviously, we talked about Captain Marvel there, and to answer kind of your question too, I know we kind of touched on it, kind of like Wonder Woman powers, but she can also shoot energy beams too. So like pretty cool, and it's nice to have, besides Scarlet Witch, another like super powered heroine in this universe. You know, because we've had Black Widow for so long, but it's like, yeah, we need someone else who can take a punch, right? So I'm excited about that, but I think this is going to be the swan song for the original crew of the Avengers. Like, I think we're going to get, you know, all the kind of payoffs with all that group again, so that way we can say goodbye to some of them. Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to see here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? If like I said earlier, like it would be so cool if they just leave him dead. Like that would be such a ballsy move, but there's no way they're going to do that.
I think they were. Here's my idea. I think they thought that Black Panther wouldn't be a big hit, and they wanted to kill him off, and then they were like, "Oh, damn it, we have to bring him back." I mean, that was when I watched it, like the entire audience was like, "What?"
Everyone went insane.
When Spider-Man died, everybody was like, "Eh."
Marvel did say. Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No. Sorry, I apologize. Without a webcam, it's kind of hard. Please go ahead. My bad.
Oh no! I was just it's like that's what's ruining this for me. Is sort of like I know that so many of them are going to come back, and I bet that like Doctor Strange's last line saying this was the only way. Obviously, he knows what's happening. He knows that this was the only way to do this. So something's going to work out in the end. I'm more looking forward to like the OG people that are alive now dying, because I'm pretty sure Captain America will, because Chris is like done with that whole thing now apparently, and they're going to put him in that dumb costume again and cut his beautiful beard away, and I'm real sad. He looks gorgeous in this one. And I don't know, I just hope Nebula honestly will save the day, because she's like badass. I thought she had the Soul Stone. I thought that the entire way through. I'm like, she's going to be like, that's what I've been doing since you haven't seen me. And I was like, oh, it's just random. Yeah, all right.
I like that. Like everybody thought the Soul Stone was going to be in Wakanda, and that's why the big conflict was there. And it's just a random ass place in space.
Yeah. I thought the Soul Stone was Captain America actually.
Wow.
I thought he was hiding in Wakanda, and that's why Thanos went after him.
Yeah.
Captain America is my Soul Stone.
That's cute.
Just in this movie, when he wears that suit, I'm done.
You got to give it to him. Like they did not give a lot away in the trailers. Like we've seen a lot, but when you watch the movie, it was still surprising, and I think that was really well done, because some movies do that really bad, and this blended in pretty well. Did anyone have gripes? I want to hear the little things. Gripes, Peter. I'll start with you. Did you have any little things that you can only talk about?
Who's got their gripes in order so they can go before me?
I can do it.
All right, go with the gripes.
I'm biased here, but there wasn't enough Captain America. I feel like he didn't get enough beats. Like there's that whole moment where he takes on Thanos one-on-one.
Yeah.
Which in the comics is like this epic moment where Thanos is like, you're going to lose, right? And he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to do this anyway. And you're like, I got goosebumps thinking about that moment. Like, that's so... Now it was just like a fist fight. And it kind of... We didn't get that... I didn't get the heroism that...
Yeah, and you just got to watch. Like, he punched him down, like, in one beat.
Which is fine. Yeah. That's kind of what happens. But it's... I just wanted way more Cap. I also kind of felt weird about the... Although it was funny, the Thor Guardian stuff, it felt quick and uncalled for, and didn't really... I don't know. I was a bit mixed on that. Anyway, those are my only gripes. Sorry.
Yeah. How about you, Jimmy?
I definitely understand, where Steven's coming from with some of that stuff for sure. But for me, it was the introduction that had my entire audience laughing when Peter Dinklage showed up.
Yes.
Entry, like I get what they're going for here. I understand it, but at the same time, it felt so jarring to pick not only a well-known actor, but to take someone and they're like, hey, it's a dwarf, but it's a giant dwarf, and he kind of talks in a weird way. It felt so just like it just ripped me out of the movie. It just kind of was weird. Yeah,
I didn't like his acting. I thought it was so fake. Everybody else is so good at, like Thor's good at having that accent and being a believable, I don't know. He just sounded like, I don't know, like a Lord of the Rings extra. Like it was very weird to me. The entire
I think
thing.
we're also attached from Game of Thrones with him that I couldn't take that scene like seriously either. It's just like it threw me out. I'm like, he shouldn't be in this movie.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna replace him on the Blu-ray with Troy Baker?
Or just like was it Nolan North in there?
It was not a North replaced him, wasn't it?
Either or,
really?
you know.
God damn it! Like it was 1 or 2. I forgot.
Yeah, you're close.
Way to ruin
You're
it.
close.
Way to ruin it, guys. Sophia, any gripes with the movie?
Well, besides the giant, besides Thor accidentally quote unquote landing on their spaceship, I did not like the final way we saw Hulk sitting in the suit because it looked very fake.
Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna actually bring
yes. That looked so weird. They'd done so well with the effects all the way through, and then I'm like, you could have just walked out of the suit.
Yeah.
Why is he still in it? It doesn't make sense. Also, I guess that we'll like hear the explanation as to why he can't Hulk in the next one, but it didn't make any sense to me because he could in the beginning. Like, what happened? Just give us a hint, just something. It was just like, no. He just said no, and I'm like, but and like at the same time. What's his name outside of Hulk? What's his name outside
Bruce
of Hulk?
Banner.
Yeah, Bruce Banner. Thank you. He didn't seem to really care. He just continued fighting in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And I wish like some of the other characters would have been like, why are you not hulking? Just like remind us why he's not hulking. Something's wrong that we will see in the next movie.
Yeah.
But it just like everybody just didn't care. They're like, he's in a Hulk suit or whatever. Like, I don't know.
So the whole Hulk thing was my gripe, actually. I was like, is this budgetary restraint that he cannot Hulk, or is it like it will be too easy? Because what I got from it was that he can't Hulk because he just got his ass beat by Thanos and he's like scared.
Yeah, that's totally it.
But like, why? Like,
I think it's to show Thanos' power, like that it would put something like the Hulk down like that far.
It gives
But
Hulk it off.
Yeah.
But I do agree because I don't like the Hulk Buster stuff. Like I didn't really like Banner being in the Hulk. Like it was just all like. He was into it right away, and then all those scenes, him sitting in it, like it was weird.
I honestly, sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
No.
I honestly would have loved seeing him more. Instead of being in that dumb suit running around, he should have just like been sitting in the Wakanda with the
Yes.
Yeah.
He should have been in the house, in the
The lab.
in the lab with Shuri, because he's a scientist too. Why didn't he just sit there and they could go through their science stuff? But
that's the thing. I feel like outside of the Hulk, they've just made him dumb. Like he's no longer a scientist. Like he's just lost that completely.
Yeah, and it's like they mess with the power levels too much. Because if Thanos like beats the Hulk, like he punched him around, then how is he not like obliterating everybody else with a single blow? Like you can't just punch Iron Man and then have him come back up if you punch out the Hulk. That doesn't make any sense to me. I hate that power creep that they do. But you know, it was a cool battle though. Thanos beating down Hulk. That was like a street fight.
That was a really good one.
But it felt like for me it was Thanos versus Iron Man's suit.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like Hulk at all, you know? Like, Hulk didn't exist in this movie. He might as well just have not been there. They should have just, like, once it was done with the Thanos fight, send him back to Earth. Oh, I can't Hulk anymore. I'll just go to Hawkeye's farm and chill or whatever.
Yeah, because you have nothing to do.
I can't... Yeah, maybe they should have been like, can you go find Hawkeye or, like, everybody else and assemble them or whatever?
Useful. Yeah, no, I feel it was kind of weird. But you know, it was a mind thing. And then I get hung up on, like, logic stuff.
I didn't like the whole like whenever they were about to take off the gauntlet, how freaking Peter messed up the whole thing.
But, yeah,
like they could have figured out something else. Like I was like, come on, dude! Like we all know you guys are all fighting Thanos. You could hold it for 2 seconds.
I thought it was very out of character because I get that he is very emotional, and I get that like it was them trying to tell the audience how much he loves Gamora, right? Like, oh my gosh, he loves her so much that he got angry. But would he really be so irrational when in the past we've seen him be good at, you know, keeping his cool, making jokes as he's like in dangerous situations and life-threatening situations, and suddenly he's just like, no, I'm just going to punch this dude. What? Like
he was ready to kill her himself. Yeah. So it's like, what happened then?
It just, it didn't make any sense. His character in this whole thing, I felt, was all over the place.
Yeah.
He was kind of also outacted by everybody else too. The way I saw it.
Yeah, who cares? He only has guns. He's like Black Widow. We don't care about those two. They're just running around with their two
Poor
pistols,
Peter.
just like, woo!
Poor Peter. But yeah, no, I see what you mean. Like, that scene was, to me, like, that just had to happen for the rest of the movie. And that's just the option that they picked. But that's the little things that bother me. Jimmy, how about yourself? I'm not sure if I heard from you yet on.
Oh yeah. On what?
Like, what did you think about the whole fight between on Titan? I think it's really.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved how it was choreographed. I can understand why people are frustrated with how it ended because that's how I felt initially too. I was like, dang, I'm like, Peter, why? But the problem that we have here is it has to be the incompetence of one of them because the entire group, if they had time to plan, it's kind of like, how would they screw up? It has to be an unknown factor. And they don't shoot to Doctor Strange when they kind of have him all wrapped up and Peter's being stupid. Because it's like, he knows this is the one outcome that worked. He's like probably going through, the 14,605 ways. And he's like, oh, the one where Peter like punches him in the face, the one where we win. He's like, all right, I guess I'll just let that fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's just going to let it go. And it is really annoying, but you're right. He's all over the place in this movie, but I don't know. He's all, it's so tough because he's so like in that moment, if you like, he's lost his mom and his dad, and like he had to kill his dad. He like knows that his dad killed his mom, and Gamora's the only thing he really fights for anymore. So it's like I don't want to defend him because he really bothers me personally. But at the same time, I get that in that stupid moment, I probably would have shot Thanos. Like I wouldn't have been like, I'm gonna hit you in the face. I would have been like, I'm gonna use my gun to shoot you, and then we'll be done with it. You know what I mean? Like it's just be like, I'm just gonna blow your face off. But yeah, it is kind of stupid. That's how it went down. But
so I'm gonna rely on your knowledge here, Stephen. Like in the fake reality that Thanos creates to trick Gamora, like she just stabs him in the throat. Like, is that how you could actually kill Thanos, or was that all part of the illusion that was even a possibility? No idea.
I'm not so clued up on the space stuff. Sorry, man.
No, like, why didn't they just cut off his arm? Like, why didn't they just...
From my understanding, he's like near immortal.
Yeah, I guess. But was he already dead, or was it just because he already had, like, at that point he had 3 or 4 stones?
He had the reality stone, so he could just make it look like whatever. He wasn't even... I don't think she was even interacting with him.
No, but I mean, like, when they're all fighting him on Titan, like, they seem to have the upper hand at some point. Like...
That goes into your point about the power levels, because, like, I often believe Thanos pulls his punches in fights with lesser beings, almost out of like some weird chivalry bullshit. But with that, it's sort of leaning on us just buying into it all working, sort of, because technically the gauntlet makes him a god. So I don't know why it doesn't just completely ruin their shit immediately. So
yeah, true. He could obliterate them completely. Exactly. I mean, he dropped the freaking moon on top of them, so.
Yeah.
I think he just likes to have fun, honestly. Like from the very beginning, when Ebony Maw holds up his hand to that Cull Obsidian guy, he's like, let him have his fun. And when he fights the Hulk, I think he's just a bully. I think he likes to fight. He's a masochist. He likes to bleed a little bit. Like he gets like cut a little. He's like, he did all that for a drop of blood. But he's like, he kind of digs it. He's like, all right, let's do this. He's a sick guy.
Which also makes him a great villain. Like They did such a good... He could have been like this really boring, like Green Lantern movie style, like omnipotent force kind of thing. I fucked up saying that word. Sorry. Omnipotent. Anyway, English is my first language. But they made him a really fun villain to watch. It was interesting.
Yeah,
especially because I think I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but I did agree with him. Like he was very relatable in a lot of situations.
Okay. It's a bit of a problematic viewpoint there, Peter.
It's okay. Tomorrow might not exist, Steven. That's fine.
Don't give Peter the infinity.
For the greater good.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't sacrifice their own daughter to annihilate half the universe?
Not to that extent, but
About that scene, Peter, I want to ask you a question, because I went to see the movie with Peter.
Okay.
Yes, I cried a little.
I was sitting next to Peter right before he chucks Gamora off. It's a close-up of Gamora's face, and it has the single... Sorry, this is just a VFX nitpick. The single worst comp job I've ever seen. Did you notice? Because I looked at you when it was happening. Half her face disappeared.
We're talking comp jobs now, so I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, with like the background was eating into her face,
I would
the worst comp I've ever seen in any movie ever, and I was surprised you didn't like shit yourself, considering that's your job.
To be honest, I might have been like too much into it because I didn't notice that.
Wow, we need to see it again. It is literally the worst comp.
I do want to see it again though. I want to see what that is.
Okay.
It's probably
sorry.
You guys just reminded me of my second gripe. Like, what the fuck was Red Skull doing there?
Yeah.
How's that a gripe for you, man? That's like tying up a loose end from First Avenger.
Yeah,
I was happy.
I don't care about that loose head. Like, it's so dumb. Like,
I'm
he's
just like,
a dude.
I'm just like, what does he do there all day?
Yeah, just sit around.
Just sit there waiting. Like,
just
finally
waiting for
somebody
Thanos.
for like years. I'm just like, at least like just have a thing that he does there.
Yeah, no.
He plays one-man Go Fish.
He's a ghost now or a floating thing. Like, what the hell happened?
I don't know. It didn't bother me, but I was kind of like, eh.
Like that would have been the most epic Stan Lee cameo right there.
Yeah. No, honestly, you're both right. You and Jimmy are both right. What it should have been is Thanos arriving, and then Stan Lee as the ghost thing. Maybe Stan Lee. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Pointing to Red Skull's body, saying it cast him out, and this is where he ended up. Kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Then you get that loop closed. You get that Red Skull thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him being the new security guard is like, what?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Stan Lee now, just sitting with Thanos and Gamora at the top, and he's like, "Those tears aren't for you or for him," you know, whatever. He's just like, "What? Why are we doing this?" Yeah.
You got the stone, Excelsior.
Exactly. Yeah.
I liked how a couple of people in the audience seemed to be like, "Wow," and it's like, you don't know who that is. It was sort of like, you watched the first Avengers and you saw Thanos for the first time. People in the crowd were like, "Whoa!" I'm like, you don't know who this is. I didn't. I was like, "Oh, cool, this guy,
purple guy."
Like,
yeah.
I think they're just wowing at the colors.
Yeah, there's like,
wow, it's red.
Wow, it's super
Like,
purple.
we don't know who he is. Why are you wooing? Like, it's probably one dude who was like, "Yes, I read the comics," but most people probably were like, "Eh."
Yeah, no, I thought that was just weird. Like Red Skull, like I know it was like probably a little fan service there, or like Jimmy says, closing loop, but like it felt out of place to me. Like, oh yeah, the one Infinity Stone casts you out to the other most secret one to hang out.
Well,
there.
someone needed to give Thanos instructions, so
Yeah, it's script stuff, I guess. Is it script stuff, Sophia?
What?
Is that just script that is just weird? Because like when you watch it, it's kind of weird, but maybe it made sense on paper.
I mean, it is. You need somebody to explain certain things in the plot, right?
Yeah.
So it would be weird if he just came there and knew everything. Like he knew where to go or do. Like that wouldn't work out because then it would be like he would have to tell Gamora, "Hey, I know that this is what we have to do." Like it would have been a weird process, and we wouldn't get his reaction to having to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, yeah, it didn't bother me that much that it was Red Skull, but I understand that they needed to put somebody in there to create some kind of context or whatever. Because it would have been weird if he was like, "I took you here because, I got to kill you."
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen.
How come? He's like, "Well, here's the thing, the Soul Stone." And then he starts explaining why. Like, it would have been weird.
Yeah.
Pulls out a little booklet from his back pocket. Let me show you now.
Yeah.
It was right next to the map that she got originally. Like Gamora's like, "I got the map and I burned it." Like, who wrote that map?
Yeah.
And they're just like,
Red Skull
let's
did.
keep this. Yeah, Red Skull, he wrote it. He's like, someone will get this. He put it in like a little bottle and sent it out into the cosmos.
Stamps it with his nose. That's his secret signature.
Yeah.
I just feel like they could have done a Luke Skywalker thing of like, at least give him a house. Give him some books. Just give him something, man. An animal?
They made him a Dementor, and that was it.
He's an NPC. He's a video game NPC. He's just waiting for someone to show up. Just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But, and I think that kind of ties into Sophia's point at the very beginning. Like, watching this movie once might be for the best sometimes. Because I would, like, the more I see it, I'll get more annoyed by that kind of stuff. But I'll probably also pick up on a lot of stuff I missed in the first time.
Well, I mean, it's one of those movies where the first time is exhilarating, right? You get this cool feeling and the music. And now I know when I go to watch it again, it's going to be cool in a different way. Because it's going to be, I'm going to see all the things tie together. And I'm going to notice more details that I forgot in the spectacle. But it's cool to see it for the first time because, and I kind of like reviews where you can tell the critic was like, I'm gonna live off of how my body feels, how my feelings are. Like I had a good time. I'm not gonna sit and be like nitpicky like we are now.
Yeah, that's what the show's for. Yeah.
Like I don't like critics when they overanalyze stuff like this, where it's like, did you really have such a terrible time watching this?
Yeah.
Did you really think about all the stuff that we think about now? You're talking about a movie.
Yeah.
Experience is fun.
That is fair enough. That is fair enough. Before we get into the ending piece, because that was just really well done, I just want to get your feelings on the sidekicks. The Thanos is, what is it, like the Black Legion or whatever his name? Even
the Black Order.
The Black Order. Like they felt weird to me. Like I don't know. I never seen them before, but maybe if is that a throwback to the comics, or because they looked like they looked more like Lord of the Rings characters to me than Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I don't know much about them. Charles is actually the expert on those guys, the Children of Thanos.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I felt like that was more like, because every movie has like this thing that they throw something at just the comics fans, and I feel like that was that. So I didn't mind it.
Yeah,
I understood what they were.
They're pretty new, I think, actually. They're only a couple of years old, so it's like a throwback to the comics, but they're still really new. So it's not like, oh, they were back in the 40s or the 60s or something. It's like, so that's why maybe you feel that way.
Yeah, and they came very well equipped with like a lance that's vision could not withstand, like for no reason at all.
Which I always think, if you were going in to see that movie for the first time without seeing any of the other Marvel movies, which you shouldn't, like that might be one of the most jarring scenes. You're like, does that lance turn people into like a purple person with like a cape or whatever, and you get stabbed with it?
Yeah.
Like, he just does it. He's like, ah! And you're like, whoa.
If you have no idea who Vision is, that would be fucking hilarious. Yeah,
exactly. You're like, what?
There was a review I read on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that person literally has not seen any of the movies.
Oh, was it the New York Times one? Where...
No.
Okay.
This was like another one where it said, hold on, I got it right here. So she said, nothing is solved as fighters on both sides die, and that's the end of the story. So what's left? Have you seen Marvel? You know that it continued. I was just like, what? Okay.
Emerged from the rock.
Yeah. Okay,
What is this movie?
I want to give Sophia a 2-minute segment here on Rotten Tomato reviews that you hate, because
yes, please,
you have some lined up. Yeah.
So I had fun today. I looked at the bad reviews to see what their arguments were, and I just looked at the little quotes that they have on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not going to call out people. You're allowed to have your opinion, but no, I'm not going to do that. You're allowed to have your opinion, but okay.
Let me search him real quick.
So this is a top critic. They say, at stake, as ever, is the fate of the universe. Why must it always be the universe? What's wrong with the fate of Hackensack? Does anyone care what happens to South Dakota or Denmark or Peru? And I'm like, my God. This is what this movie's about. Okay, here's another one. This is also top critic. The Avengers Infinity War isn't just a gussied up mediocrity. English. Yes, thank you. Being widely mistaken for a good movie. It's also, at least arguably, a dangerous movie for anyone who cares about the future of American cinema.
What?
And here's my thing. This is a very pretentious thing to say. And I have a problem with a lot of critics who not only keep saying, everything was better in the old days, because there are a lot of arguments why sometimes new movies are better, such as Roles for Minorities. They didn't exist back in the day. Just
a minor thing there, yeah.
It's just very peculiar to me how these critics, who are, in my opinion, kind of pretentious in saying these movies aren't good, and they're saying they are ruining American cinema because these people want to save cinema, make people go there and not just stream movies. Why are you critiquing the movies that make people go to the cinema? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. If you want to save cinema, these are type of movies that need to be there. You can't just rely on, 3-hour biopic dramatic movie starring Meryl Streep. They're not going to just attract people. So here's another one from the Avengers thing. Maybe Deadpool 2 will be better.
Oh, man.
Period. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. And then also, fans will likely find Infinity War satisfactory. As narrative filmmaking, however, it's a disaster, a bloated monstrosity that smothers to death its most intriguing aspects. The whole sentence is just like, I just went to my word book and just
I opened the thesaurus and searched up similes. Let's go.
It's very weird to me. It's just some of these I don't understand. Like, so when you read them, it's just sort of, you just decided to hate this movie.
Yeah.
Before you even saw it. Like, you gave it no chance. You didn't care. And I have a problem with that because, I mean, I was one of those people who went into this movie thinking this is going to be trash. I'm going to hate it. And then I changed my mind. I was like, you know what? I'm back on the Marvel train. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Yeah, I was sick and tired of it, but like, come on, it's a good, fun movie. Don't be pretentious.
No, and
that's my critique to critics.
Fair enough. And I think that, like, you cannot not acknowledge that this whole project changed how some people watch movies. Like, this is like a 10-year television show. I don't think it's ever been done before. The thing that comes closest to me is probably the Harry Potter franchise, which is also based on books that lasted like 8 or 9 years. But that was, I think I could compare it to that.
I think you're right. I mean, it's making young people go to the cinema and get a relationship with going to a cinema. Yeah. And I think once you have that relationship and realize it's worth your money and, that kind of stuff, then you start going to see more movies in the cinema. And that might be movies who are more deserving and they'll make more money and they'll put, I'm very lucky to live in LA because we have a lot of smaller cinemas that show indie films and films that usually don't get the bigger screens. Mm-hmm. But, often those cinemas are just, not young people because we need to teach people about going to the cinema, especially now where people are growing up with Netflix.
Yeah.
And so these movies are necessary and it's fun. And of course they're loud and spectacle. That's why you go to see them and not watch them, on an airplane because it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Stu.
No, I was going to say, what's interesting going off of Sophia's point is like I'm not as old as you, Wout, but I'm probably the second oldest person here. And I grew up with like superhero stuff was terrible when it got adapted.
Yeah.
So now we grow up, like kids growing up now with these fucking excellent superhero movies. Like even if they're not going to change your life, they're really well done. Really like about paying homage to these things that people grew up with and loved in a really faithful, excellent way. Like I wonder now the bar has been set so high. Like what are these people going to grow up with and make about stuff they love when they're older? Like it's just awesome. It's so good for everything all around.
Yeah, we're embracing young people's culture more and more. And I think, but that's something that happens, right? Like in the 90s, it was horror movies and thrillers that got their, position as valid films with like Silence of the Lambs and Seven and all these great films that were taken seriously. And I think now it's superhero movies. And I think eventually people will realize there are actually good things to find in them, even though on the surface you just see, funny this and that. And, why are adults watching these children's films? Which, by the way, I saw a lot of young kids in Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, me too.
I was kind of like, I don't know how, if I would have taken my kid there. That was kind of traumatic, no?
Parents, what are you doing? Question.
Yeah, but I think that's also my generation, like the 35-year-olds that want to see the movies themselves and just bring their kids so they can get out of the house.
35-year-olds.
Actually, 36. Shit. But it's I think it is a phenomenon, and they're gonna look back on this hopefully years from now to study it. I don't know, but there will be things written about this whole project. So
it's fun to go and relax at the movie sometimes,
Yeah.
You don't have to always be serious.
And
I enjoy that.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I think I've seen them all. But yeah, it does feel like Jimmy said earlier, it feels like the swan song because the next one is already filmed and ready. Like they're just maybe there's still some editing going on, but like they wrapped it up at the same time as they filmed this movie apparently. So it's there. So they can't spoil too much. They're just making us wait.
I hope they don't show any trailers for the next one. To be honest,
because there's it doesn't take much, right?
It needs to keep you hanging. Just don't show trailers. You're gonna do a good thing. Whoever's seen this one, they're gonna go for the second one.
Yeah.
Or just fake it. Fake it like they did half-assed in the first trailer. Like just show us stuff that won't be there. Just play. Yeah. They should just make like a joke trailer.
Wait, did
where
they show
nothing
just like
makes sense, and you're just like, what is this? What is just like bring random characters that have never even been there, just dumb trailer with nothing.
Not even characters, just like a rock on a planet. Infinity War 2.
What if Ant-Man and the Wasp is exactly that? It's the fake trailer for Avengers 4, and they're gonna shadow drop it like in a month from now.
2 hour trailer.
I'd be okay with that. I really can't get on board the whole Ant-Man train. Like, it's one of my favorite movies.
I fell asleep watching Ant-Man in the cinema.
I thought it was pretty good. It was funny.
Yeah, I do like Batman vs Superman. Your opinion is invalid.
Steve.
I don't know. That was when I was at my worst when it came to Marvel fatigue, I guess.
Fair enough.
It was kind of like, I don't need this story. Why do I need you to be like Ant-Man's a cool character, but like I don't need you. I don't feel.
Yeah, that's exactly how
He
I feel
would have
about
fucked Thanos up though. Like he would have gone like super minion, just ripped those stones out of his gauntlet. Like that's why he wasn't there.
Maybe he's just chilling in his gauntlet
Maybe.
this whole time.
This whole time. God damn it, Ant-Man, get your shit together.
If he like run through his ear into his brain and just
then
start
grow
ripping
big.
apart.
That's what I would do. Like, there's so many. Okay, I want to. This is what I need to do because this is how my brain works too. I want to hear how would you have defeated Thanos if you had like the whole team to your disposal. I'll start with you, Jimmy.
I thought about the Ant-Man thing, and I was like thinking about him, and I was also thinking about like Hawkeye. Weirdly, 'cause we're not sure if like the whole physical threat works. We've seen, Iron Man does make him bleed a little. I was like, what if Hawkeye got like a really nice like uru, which is like that metal they make Stormbreaker out of, an arrow and a bow, and he hit him from a distance, and he didn't see it coming. Like, would that do it? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But like my hope was always that they get Ghost Rider in there, and he grab that gauntlet, and he just melt it and go guilty, and you melt through it and then grab all the stones for himself. But I don't know how you do that. You need to have Hulk. I think Hulk's the thing. Once you get Hulk back in, that's how I'd kill him.
All right.
That's kind of what they set it up for. I feel like
Yeah.
Hulk's gonna have this redemption arc.
Oh, now I see it too.
Yeah.
I just imagine right now Ghost Rider wearing all the stones like a chain and just like chilling in the back. Yeah.
Infinity chain.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that would be awesome. How about you, Peter? What would your move be?
Redo the planet scene and take out Peter, and we're good to go.
Yeah, they pretty much had it.
Yeah, they had him right there.
Yeah.
Easy.
I don't know. Other. I mean, it was a good point with the whole arrow and everything. Other than like actually physically killing him, like aiming for the head instead of the chest,
Yeah.
like Thor did. I mean,
I like that though that he mentioned that. Like you should.
I
have
love
for the
that.
head.
I love that. Yeah, that line right there. You should have went for the head and the snap afterwards. It was perfect.
Yeah, that was good. How about you, Sophia? What would your play be?
Oh man. Well, I'm assuming Adam Warlock will not be part of this, so that's out of the question. Here's the deal: I want Nebula to kill him because I think that would be the best way to do it. I think she deserves it. I think that was her goal all along, and I think she might be the hidden weapon because she's introduced. She was there. We don't know what happened. She's gonna be like the Avengers are gonna be the distraction, and she's gonna be the one who, I don't know, not pulls the trigger, but I want her to be the one because I think
she can pull it.
Without Adam Warlock, I mean, they say that Captain Marvel is like the strongest of all the things. I don't see how. She just in my eyes looks like a Superman. I'm kind of like, it's boring.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the end? She just punches him to death. Like, woo, that's it. Like, they're going to do something big, and I just hope that it will be Nebula because she has a reason. She has an arc. She has the connections. Just from the beginning, that's all she wanted. So just have her do it somehow.
What is the last we see of her? Is that when she escapes from the thing and like kills the robot and then like?
No, it's she crashes the ship into Thanos, and after it all goes down, she's like, he's won. She's standing there with Tony on Titan. It's just the two of them.
Oh,
and she says he's won. But yeah, I'm totally with Sophia. I mean, she's a big thing in the comics, so it's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
How about you, Steven? What would your play be?
I can't top Jimmy's suggestion. Like there's actual sort of precedent for it. There's a non-canon comic where Punisher kills the Hulk with an arrow just by hitting him perfectly in the eyeball.
Yeah.
So like a special arrow, get him in the eyeball, great. But I don't know. I feel like Sophia just like nailed what the story's going to be. It's going to be Hulk, because Hulk's got infinite strength, right?
Yeah.
He just needs to realize that. So it's going to be a massive fight with Hulk basically pulverizing Thanos. And then when Thanos is lying there, sort of maybe about to get away, maybe just defeated or whatever. It's going to be Nebula standing above him, driving in the final dagger, getting that closure.
And I mean, if they are, as a script writing student, if they are going with like, because when you have an inciting incident, you usually go for the easiest way out, and that the first easiest thing they tried was that little plan they had with Doctor Strange and Iron Man and everything. Yeah. It was cool. It would be cool if they made a plan too, and that's the one that worked. They all worked together to capture him somehow. They like, I don't know, stand on him and beat on him. Just Hawkeye throws some random arrows and whatever. I feel like him and Thor are going to be the comic relief duo. You know, they're both going to like have fun together, and you know. Because I feel like Rocket's too sad at this point. Yeah. He's not going to be fun. He's not going to have a good time. Everybody died. He's going to... Poor guy.
Yeah, we're just going to assume Hawkeye is not in the 50% there.
Speaking about the 50% of the deaths, something Marvel did say, which I think is completely true. Everyone's mocking it. Marvel said all the deaths are final in the movie, but I think the wording is what's crucial there.
Yeah.
So that to me is like Loki is dead. Like everyone who died before the Infinity Gauntlet triggered the thing is dead.
Yeah.
And that made me so sad because Loki was my favorite character.
Yeah.
I cried. I was like, I was like, this is 5 minutes in and I'm crying. He was the best one. He looks like a Slytherin, so he's right up my alley. It was just, oh my God. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there's there's things how I wanted to go and how I would have done it. I really like you guys with the Nebula storyline because she needs a payoff to the entire character, other than just being a nuisance to the Guardians.
That's what I felt like she was during the first Guardians movies. I just kept thinking, I don't know why you're here. I don't understand why you're being introduced at all. You're just like, okay, you two are fighting, and then there was like the blue metalhead dude. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Where's bad guy? What the hell is his name?
Ronan the Accuser.
Ronan the Accuser. Yeah.
Ronan the Accuser. God. Guy who looks like he's in a metal band. It was just sort of like, I don't understand. And I was like, okay, so second one, they're sisters. Why do I care? And now I'm like, oh, that's probably why I care.
Yeah.
Because she's going to want revenge.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if they're going to bring Gamora back. Like, I've heard some rumors about that, but like, I hope they don't.
Not. I think she's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, she should be.
Yeah, so Loki, Gamora, gone. Is anyone else gone?
Heimdall, not that many people care, but
I care.
I love Heimdall.
Idris Elba's great. And honestly, this is a dumb probably theory. I thought he might have the Soul Stone because his eyes were orange, and when he used his power, with Thor, Thor's eyes got orange, and I'm like, is that like a thing? But I guess
is that what it was?
Not.
Okay.
Yep. He also says at one moment he's like, I see all the souls in the universe, and like right there is like, is that you got the Soul Stone?
Yeah. So what does the Soul Stone do again in this movie? At least
plays great music.
Because I know in the comics it has like a whole thing around it, but like I still don't understand what it does.
I don't know what any of them do except the Time Stone.
It lets you shed tears and kill your children. And that's what it does.
Yeah. And bring the Red Skull somewhere for no reason.
Well, from what I understand, I've kind of done some analysis here, because believe it or not, but Soul Stone, it kind of creates like a pocket dimension. You see Thanos with young Gamora at the end in that kind of orange area. So there's this kind of theory out there that maybe everybody turned to dust. They might all be in there. So maybe they just have to get them out.
Wait. I heard that theory that the Soul Stone is actually what holds all the souls of like the people that have been disintegrated.
Yeah.
And as far as this is just a theory out there, is that's the way that people are going to be brought back.
Yeah.
Is via that Soul Stone.
It's got to be something like that. Like, that's, I think, a nice little exercise before we go to the next thing. But go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah, I just don't understand how the people are going to bring them back using the stone is Hawkeye and Captain Marvel and Hulk who can't Hulk. And Don Cheadle, did he survive? I don't even know.
He did.
Don Cheadle?
Yeah, Don Cheadle's back.
I just thought, these are the guys. Just I hope Shuri is alive, because she could at least give him tech. Let's go.
We haven't seen her, so it's unknown, I think, if she's there. So it has to do with the Skrulls, because if you bring in mimicking powers, something tells me they're going to mimic the Infinity Gauntlet, something lame like that.
No, we won't see Skrulls in the next movie.
No. Well, in the Captain Marvel, maybe she gets a mimicking power. I don't know what they get. They have to do something with her. Like, she's the big clue to how they're gonna fix this.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I was just going to say, because I know that she technically gets her power from the Kree, so it might be the Kree versus the Skrulls, so I don't know if it'll be more like based on what the Kree are, because that's like a whole other thing that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been dealing with, which is another alien race, so it's like you have to introduce one or two alien races in this 1990s like prequel, which isn't much. So it's like...
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird, but luckily they have a whole movie ahead of us. So I do want to at least touch on the big ending. I just want to get your feelings, and I'm just going to go on my screen from left to right. So, Jimmy, how did you feel when the credits rolled?
Oh, I felt overwhelmed. Usually when I walk out of one of these movies, I'm like, oh, that was fun. This is good times. I'm like, well, no, like I know what's coming, but at the same time, it's very emotional. So, yeah, it was nice to have something to process.
How about you, Peter?
I will say it again. It felt like I just let go of a huge breath, like an anvil was just sitting on my chest this whole time, like holding down my feelings. But I really enjoyed it. I kind of felt a little bit like, what is this next one going to deliver? Because like everybody just died. And I was like, okay, this is really cool for an ending. But what is the next one going to be? Yeah. So it kept me thinking, which is really good. I haven't walked out like that in a while from these movies. So,
how about you, Sophia?
Well, when I watch movies like that, I get very into them. What's the word I'm looking for?
Invested.
I forget about everything else. I mean, that's when it comes to these movies. So I did not think rationally for at least half an hour. So I was just in shock that everybody was dead. I'm never going to see them again. Like, I didn't think, like, I just forgot everything. I forgot all the, like, of course they're going to come back, because movies. I was just like, it was just the entire audience. Everybody just sat there, like, what? Like, it was a great feeling. I like that. It's funny that Marvel are now doing serious movies better than DC, which used to be their thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought it was, besides Hulk looking ridiculous in that CG weird position he was in, that kind of like drew me off for a little sec, but I was just sort of like processing, and I thought that was really cool. But then, the thing that kind of ruined it for me was 20 minutes later I realized, but there are going to be movies, so, I kind of wish they just had not told us anything about stage 3. Is it stage 3? No.
Phase 4.
Phase 4, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the only one cursed by knowledge, as Skull would say.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great ending. I thought it ended with a nice calm after the storm, sort of them just standing there. I did not like the end credit. I did not like Samuel Jackson saying motherfucker, because it's so cliche. It's not even funny. Nobody in the crowd laughed. You've laughed at that from Snakes on the Plane and a couple of movies later, but now everybody was like, he could have just vanished. It was just like, we've seen him, we know he curses and all that stuff. Just have him disappear. That'd be cool enough.
Yeah. How about you, Steven?
Shell shock, and then almost it made me look more at like my life over the last 10 years. I kind of
all your
felt
friends
like
disappear.
No. It's just like I felt like I'm a part of like cinema. This is going to sound so cheesy. Part of like cinematic history. Like this is a big event that has been a part of my life as a huge nerd who loves this shit for the longest time. Like it was kind of like this. Wow, we're coming to an end on this whole thing. It was a nice little retrospective feeling.
Cool. That's cool. It's like Weird at all or cheesy. That's amazing. That's really cool.
It's the last part of the roller coaster.
I was just straight up sad that Peter Parker died, because he had the worst one.
Killed me.
Yeah, that was painful.
Yeah.
I think that was painful.
Apparently that was ad-libbed. He said. I was like, that's incredible.
Awesome.
It's like,
that's
well
awesome.
done, Tom. Like that's, and I think we're gonna get that mirrored in the next one.
Yeah.
I think,
it was probably ad-libbed because they wouldn't allow him to read the script, so he wouldn't spoil anything.
He didn't know what's gonna happen. They were like, you broke your leg. Go.
Yeah. No, that's just killing, man. Like that poor kid.
For me, it was Black Panther because it was the first one. I was so like, what? Because I didn't understand what was happening with the snap. I thought he just disappeared. And it took me like until Spider-Man to be like, oh my god, he snapped his fingers.
Yeah, and I think it was Bucky, right? The first one to go.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
the
it
very
was
first one.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I loved how they did it with Black Panther though, when he goes for Okoye and like you think she's the one, and then he just like falls away. I was like, what? That's your $1 billion movie right there.
Yeah, I wish.
The crowd was, and it was so funny because there was one dude in the crowd who was so excited. Like right before we see Wakanda, when the drum music starts, he's like, "Oh my god, yeah!" He like stood up and like Wakanda forever. And then when Black Panther died, everybody heard like a no, like it was just so
no more.
I was like, "Oh, you poor baby!" Like I just that was in my theater at least, that was the big shock was Black Panther. Yeah. There were a lot of ahs for Groot as well. Like a lot of chicks were like,
we had a lot of clapping in our theater. Like our theater had like a lot of excitement going on.
They clapped like every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. No, I think it was great. Like that ending, just damn.
Yeah.
And I like the audience participation. That's something Casablanca will never have. That's something that those professors, they don't know what they're missing out on. They're like, we're not going to go to the cinema to see this crap. I'm like, you don't know. This is so fun. Fandom is great.
Yeah.
It can be terrible at times, but it can also be amazing. And I think this movie is one where like even people like me who were like kind of tired of Marvel, didn't like it for a while, then came back, and people who have been Marvel Comics fans and just Marvel movie fans in general all came together and like had fun. You're allowed to clap and cheer and cry and do anything you want. Like it's like no rules. But then you have other movies where it's like where you clap, people are like, why are they clapping? Shh. Like it's great, but this is the movie where you just in it.
Yeah. I think I don't know. It's been a while since I've had that at a movie where the whole theater was just silent, and they were like, "Okay, where's the post-credit scene? Because I need one in my life right now." And then it wasn't super good. My entire audience was confused with what was on the pager there. I saw everybody pull out their phone, and I saw Captain Marvel on everybody's phone all of a sudden. So that was pretty funny. So yeah, it's the closure of 10 years. So any, I have one more thing I want to talk about, but any closing thoughts on Infinity War? Like,
I don't feel like it's the end.
No, well, we
I feel like it's the I mean, it's like the beginning of the end. It's like the Deathly Hallows Part 1, right? Yeah. Where it's like you're like, well, that one wasn't that so bad. Like, it's the Two Towers, all right? It's the Two Towers, and the next one, hopefully, is Return of the King.
Yeah.
Although the Two Towers is my favorite one, you know, we'll have to see. Yeah. But and I'm worried that might still be the case with the second one because that's just a personal thing, though. I'm not invested in the characters that are in this one. I think I'm not super into Captain America. I'm not super into Iron Man. I'm not. Also, how the hell is Iron Man going to get away from that planet?
I was thinking about this afternoon. Like, now what?
But I think that might lose it for a lot of people since Black Panther and Doctor Strange, like all of these big characters had like a special place in the heart of people who are not big fans of the comics. Mm-hmm. That might be a detriment that people are going in like, oh great, it's like Hawkeye and Black Widow and like people aren't, you know. Plus Iron Man, Captain America, we're tired of. They've been there all this time. Like I wish just one of them. I was hoping it would have been Captain America. I just wanted one of the two. But
when is Captain Marvel supposed to come out? Like summer next year?
It's March of next year.
So just before Avengers,
2 months before.
Like
Black Panther.
What if? Because we haven't really seen anything from this movie other than some set screens, photos. What if they fix it in that movie?
I don't think
end of Captain Marvel, so they can just play the trailers and do the marketing for Infinity.
I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah, I just don't know how much time they're gonna waste. Anyway, we can talk about that like next year probably on predictions for that. But any other closing thoughts?
I got a crazy prediction.
Okay, go ahead.
All the rights are returning to Marvel now, so the way he uses the gauntlet fundamentally changes the Marvel universe, which is what justifies them now making Fantastic Four and X-Men movies. So I'm going to say mutants now exist and the Fantastic Four exist, and they help in the final battle. That's my dream wish.
Very good.
I just also want Scarlet Witch to fuck up Thanos because she
Yes.
yeah, she's got it. Oh no,
Yeah,
she
she
died.
picks-
She died.
Yeah, she did.
Or
Yeah, and she was relieved.
vanished. Yeah. Oh,
Because
God,
Vision
yeah.
was gone. She was like,
Oh,
yeah.
dear Lord.
You gotta go rub that soul stone to
Yeah.
get her back.
Yeah, that's probably the thing, isn't it? So like, this is 10 years. I just want to test your memory real quick. Give me
Oh,
one thing that was happening to you 2008 when Iron Man came out. Jimmy, I'll start with you because you're thinking the hardest. I can see it on my camera.
yeah, I was in high school, man. And I remember seeing that movie. I think I saw it once or twice, and then my buddy and I were so excited. We went and rented the Iron Man video game, which was not super good, but we were so jazzed about Iron Man and how cool we thought it was. And just, I remember seeing the trailer for it during the Super Bowl, where it's that shot off to the side where he's walking away in the Iron Man suit, and the tank blows up behind him, and he's kind of like greasy, and like, I just remember thinking, this was amazing, and I will never forget that. Like, that's 2008, baby. Like,
Woo. How about you, Peter?
We actually had a big move on our hands. We were moving from the States back to Bulgaria to retry life back there again. And I just remember watching that movie right before like our move was happening. So
Weren't
it's
you,
kind of
like,
like
8
the
years
mark
old
of
as
it.
well?
No, I was like 10. No, it was the beginning of my high school.
That's pretty cool.
Well,
Yeah.
How about you, Sophia?
2008.
Mhm.
I turned 18.
Aw.
That's all I remember. What happened in 2000? Last year in high school. Can't really. I probably did not see Iron Man in the cinema. The thing is, in Norway, where I lived, I would have to take a train for like 20 minutes to get to a cinema.
Mhm.
So I very rarely went to them. I only went to see like Harry Potter and like some horror movies. So chances are I probably just saw it on DVD, and that probably came out in 2009 because Norway at the time was very far behind. So yeah, I don't know what happened. That's so long ago. God, it's 10 years.
Really
It's
long ago,
crazy.
yeah. That's insane.
That's pretty long.
Yeah.
How about you, Steven?
2008, I was still in South Africa. This was my first serious relationship. I was in my second year of animation school, and I think it's when I started considering moving to Canada and started getting that ball rolling. So it was
Nice.
quite a nice changing year. I actually went to Canada that year to visit, like plan things out.
That's funny. For me, I met my wife that year. Like, it's not
Aw.
my wife. Yeah.
Aw.
We met for the first time, and we did not went to see Iron Man. We went to see The Day That the Earth Stood Still, and it was not very good.
not a great film.
Oh,
It's fine.
you're lucky that she stayed with you.
Yeah.
She-
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing, because so she's Canadian, and she came to see me in Holland, and in Dutch cinemas, we do everything subtitled. So she watched the whole movie with me. She doesn't need subtitles, obviously, but then there's a whole scene where they speak Chinese, and the Chinese is being subtitled in Dutch, but obviously not in English. So she missed like 5-6 minutes of the movie,
That's really good.
which made it probably better than it was.
I
But,
just realized 2008 was I was not occupied with Iron Man and not occupied with the Hulk, which I'm not mistaken came out that year as well.
Very good.
I was all about Twilight. No, I'm just kidding. That came out that year too. But no, that was the year The Dark Knight came out.
Really?
So I was
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think so.
yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
because I remember that was like my jam.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
I actually the reason I remember is because for one of my other friends' 18-year birthday, because we're all in the same class, we had a movie night, and I wanted to watch The Dark Knight Returns or The Dark Knight, and they wanted to watch Mamma Mia. So
Wow.
I was angry that entire night because who won? Mamma Mia. So we sat there and they danced around and sang, and I sat there like little nerd Sophia, like, we don't want to watch your Batman movie. You know, it was great.
Terrible. No, I watched Dark Knight and The Strangers back to back the day before I went to Thailand for a month. So it was indeed the same year. All right, so I'm going to close off with my favorite segment of the show. It's called Podcast and Shill, where you can promote anything you like for yourself or for others, because there's no rules here. So I'll start with you, Jimmy. Anything you want to shill for?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to do this. We were talking about critics earlier. I'm technically a critic. I'm from Critical Reviews, so you can go watch my Avengers review if you want to see like my thoughts on it. But I think it's a great film. But yeah, you can go check us out over there. We have Patreon, we have Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. So yeah, if you check us out, let us know.
Where can we find you?
you can find us at Go Critical on Twitter or on Twitch and Twitter. And then you can also find me. I'm at JimmyGood013 on Twitter.
Awesome. How about you, Peter? What do you want to shill for?
Shout out to Jimmy. Watch his stuff. Shout out to Steven. Go check him out on Twitter.
Thank you.
Wow.
Nothing from me. So
Really? Are you on the Twitterverse at all?
He is on the Twitter.
no, not really. I'm not active on there.
No? So I can tag you and make people follow you?
You work
can
on
tag me,
Supernatural.
yeah.
Don't you want us to watch your show?
Yeah.
And watch Supernatural if you're into it.
What?
Wow.
You work at Supernatural, Peter? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I do.
What? That's so cool, man.
That's what happens when you show up late, Jimmy. You miss all the good
I'm so sorry, Peter. You want to be on a
Yeah.
show, man? No. That's great. That's cool.
How about you, Sophia? Where can we find you and what do you want to shill for?
So I think you should follow Jimmy, follow Steven, watch Supernatural. I got the thing now. No, honestly though. But also twitter.com/itsSophiaH is my Twitter. I'm on Twitch and YouTube as Swordfish Kiss. I'm going to do more Overwatch streams probably. And I'm currently working on a very thorough film analysis of 7, which will probably come out by the end of May.
Cool.
So hopefully you can see that on YouTube. And I also got a funny Overwatch show that I made for my TV class coming on my YouTube channel soon too. It's the first episode of a show that will never exist, but it's produced in the studio, so it's pretty cool.
Oh,
I like
Okay.
all the
Looking forward to that.
Overwatch content. Good stuff.
I like that.
Yeah.
How about you, Steven? What do you want to shill for?
I don't know. At Blomkamp if you want lots of pictures of my cat. Like I tell people that I'm a game dev, but it's pretty much just pictures of my cat with the occasional game dev stuff.
Fair enough.
And then eventually one day when I stop being lazy, there'll be Game Camp. Yay!
Nice.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that.
Yeah, man. I've we've shilled for that for like three different podcasts already.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm waiting until I'm like unemployed and then can just like focus on that fully.
Do you need help with that? I'll help you out. I'll get you unemployed.
Unbelievable. Well, for me, I would say like follow Jimmy, watch Supernaturals, watch Sophia's Overwatch show, and just wait until you die until Steven comes up with Game Camp for change. And I am the Hashtagonist on Twitter, and you can find me there pretty much. And if you like this show, you can support it on patreon.com/thehashtagonist. And if you're listening through any of the podcast services, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you haven't seen Infinity Wars and you listen to this anyway, well, that's on you. Thank you for all, I guess, Jimmy, Peter, Sophia, and Steven. Thank you for coming in literally the last minute, or even literally the 20th minute of the show. If you're Jimmy. So.
Yep, happy to be here, and also only promote myself and not everybody else. Please go check out everybody else's stuff. Don't look at my stuff anymore. Go watch their stuff. You know.
I like it. I will close it at that, and thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you'll tune in again. Thank you so much.